Hi, I'm Richard Kilpert. I work at the Centre for Art Education at the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art Africa, Zeitz MOCAA, in Cape Town, South Africa. In the Centre for Art Education, we specialize in unpacking the work of the artists that are celebrated in our amazing museum. And if you haven't had a chance to visit it, we are opening up our doors online, virtually, to show you some of the beautiful stuff that we have inside the museum, the challenging artworks, and celebrating the creative spirit that is contained in our walls. Usually we have thousands of school kids, school groups, tours, workshops, and parents and families and visitors and tourists coming through the museum. And in the basement of the museum, our Centre for Art Education is a hive of activity, making art to actually understand what is going on in the museum and how it is that those artists made their work, the practical stuff behind the making. Today's artist, and particularly a favorite of mine, is Nicholas Hlobo. He is an artist who is exhibiting a major piece right since the museum opened in 2017. And it's called Iimpundulu Zonke Ziyandilandela. So to make a thunderbird, we need to start with a skeleton, something very basic. And one of the brilliant things that I've learned is a paper tube technique, which I'm going to be showing you. And we're going to be building these paper tubes and sticking them together to form like a skeleton, an infrastructure of the center of the thunderbird. And so that's the main part. That's where you really have to focus today. And then to do that, we'll need some paper. This glossy printed magazine paper is best. You need something quite big, at least A3 or bigger. You can get it from shopping centers or the stuff that comes in the post with the newspapers, those free flyers. Those are great. I'm going to show you how to do that. Then masking tape or sellotape. Definitely need to tape them together, and that's pretty much all you'll need for the start. You can use a stapler later on, and then we'll be needing some other bits of plastic and wool and ribbons to add to our decoration at the end. Did I say we need a pair of scissors? I think we'll need a pair of scissors. Let's make tubes. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to give you is to take a large piece of masking tape so that you don't have to keep tying it. Just put it ready to use on your table so that you've got, just on the edge, you've got enough to pick up and use as you need it, so that you don't have to keep stopping to tear a piece of masking tape. Then you'll need the paper. And what I like doing, and I've found works best, is to cut the piece of paper into a square. As you can see, it's very long. And what I need is a square piece of paper. So here we've got a square piece of paper. I've got my tape ready. And now this is the key part. Fold a little bit into the paper like that, so that you can give a strong core to your tube, and then start to fold from the outside in a diagonal way across the paper. And you're going to have to practice this because it's taken me a long time to get it right. And the tighter you roll the tube, the stronger your stick will be, so that you go all the way to the end and have a nice, let's say about 60 centimeter tube. And this means that you've got something that can hold the weight of your puppet bird. And here's my tape. And voila, the first tube. And you'll need about 6 or 8 of them. But I guarantee you need to practice this to get it right. It takes a while. I've made hundreds of them, and we use them all the time in all sorts of activities at the Centre for Art Education. So on the path to making our Thunderbird, we've got our tubes, and they're going to show you step by step how to make each piece of the Thunderbird. The first step is to create the head. So choose a nice strong piece of tubing, one that's going to be long enough, and then hold it, bend the front bit back. It almost looks like a dinosaur head or a dragon head. This is going to show you which way the bird is going to fly. Take your masking tape and put it on to hold it in place. Now, if you've got a head, you definitely need an eye. And so we've figured out a clever way of filling in the eye. You could cut a tube in half and begin to roll it. Can you see what I'm going to do now? I'm rolling the tube into a spiral that hopefully will fit perfectly into the head. You might need to ask your guardian, mom or dad, uncle or aunt, granny or grandpa who's helping you to cut that. But there we go. There's the eye of my Iimpundulu Thunderbird. Have you done that? Then we can go on to the next step. The next step is obviously creating the key to the bird, which is the wings, because it won't fly without wings. So what we need now is a very long piece of tubing, and now this is quite a clever one. This is a 2/3 piece of tubing that's going to curl around like that. You're going to have to practice that. You might even need to use 2 pieces. So you're going to make a circle and fit it into the Thunderbird. Tape it. You want me to do that again? You take your dragon, your initial head, you take another tube and roll it around so that the wings are the same length. So try and get them so that they're the same length in the middle, half and half, because you can end up with one wing that's much longer than the other. So that's where we're at now. And we've used 1, 2, 3 pieces of tubing. We can reinforce this later. Now, who knows what we're going to do? We need to be able to make this Thunderbird fly. So here we go. We're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to add the puppet sticks at the bottom. The way we're going to do that is we're going to bend it in half. Take a tube, bend it in half, make it flat on the side so it can go on the wings. And what I've found best is that if it goes further out, it can fly on the wing. It can actually get quite a good articulation, because if you make it too close to the body, it's going to not be able to fly as well. You need to at least go halfway down the wings and then tape it. We can neaten that up afterwards. Tape it there and tape it here. Let's see, about halfway, yeah. Can you see that? Coming along nicely. So now you've got the basic structure for your Thunderbird. There are more things we can do with it, but if you can get here, then we can carry on. I'm going to add just one more piece down at the bottom, just to help me articulate my Thunderbird. And let's see, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to add one more piece here just to strengthen the Thunderbird. Let's see if it goes on the top, might be better. Just so that I can really go to town with the decorations and have a nice long tail. So now we get to the really fun part, where the philosophy of the Centre for Arts Education is waste not, want not. And so any scraps of paper you've got that are left over, you can now use to make decorations or feet or heads or claws for your lightning bird. So I'm going to encourage you to explore and have fun with the tubes that you've got left over. What could you make with them? What patterns and shapes? And how can you add to your bird to make it more spectacular? Everybody should know this technique, where as we take this little piece of leftover flyer, pamphlet, advertising newspaper, got that, and tipping it back and forth, you could staple it in the middle, and now you've got some crazy headdress, or a ruff, as they would call it in the fashion industry. You can also take these pieces of paper and cut them into strips and make almost feathery sort of tassels that hang down. And make decorations out of them, or edges for the wings that are going to go on the side of the Thunderbird. We've also made a strange headdress, which almost looks like something from Dr. Seuss, where you can make legs, or you can have a neck piece. Let me see if I've got another one. I've got another one that goes all the way around like that. So we can experiment and play with various parts of the materials that we've got, and try and stick to just the paper that you've got, and we'll do the final decoration with ribbons and string. So let me show you. Iimpundulu Zonke Ziyandilandela. Here on the 4th floor, in a gallery of the collections of the Zeitz Museum, this giant beast rises intimidating over the visitors, staring with hollow eyes from a horse's skull, antelope horns, rubber wings, laced through with ribbons, red and purple, this black car tire body with wings and an upholstered stomach, right down through its gangly Jabberwocky legs, ending in golden claws. And I hope this will inspire you in your decoration of your Thunderbird, and hopefully you will respect and understand the work of Nicholas Hlobo a little bit better, having made this closer look at his Thunderbird. So now, my favorite part of the process, where we create our Thunderbird and decorate it. I'm going to have tail, lightning tail, and here we go. So it's going to have to be a wiggling tail. So what I recommend when we're making the decoration for this is that you find interesting scraps of material and paper and plastic that you can use to decorate. But the first thing that we'd like to do is create some large wings for this bird, because without wings, it's not going to take off. So let me use a plastic rubbish bag. I'm looking at the large pieces of rubber that Nicholas Hlobo uses. And to find a way to bring it in and make the wings. What I love about Nicholas's work is that it's got these long pieces of rubber that tassel along. To make the tail. Just going to hold that there like that. Now we need some wings. Going to staple that on. So here we are. I've found some wings that I can use for my Iimpundulu. I'm going to add to the head to make it look a bit more like Nicholas Hlobo's. And something that's interesting there as well is that we're not necessarily looking for neat edges. It can also be quite scary and puffy. And I'll add stuff to the wings just now. So now to focus on the head, you can either have it going up almost like a dragon, or I'm going to copy the thunderbird in the museum and have it going down like that. Still keeping the eye, but what I've decided is I'm going to add a ruff from a plastic bag like the one that Nicholas Hlobo's got, to give it a bit of a neck with some tassels hanging down. And then for my head, I'm going to use some tin foil to bring in a different element. You could also use shiny wrapping paper from chips or from a tea bag packet. But to give it that skull-like head, that we've got in our museum. So it's coming along nicely. I'm just going to add some of the tassels that work. I wouldn't hang this above my bed in the middle of the night. If I woke up, I'd get a fright. Maybe yours is a happy one, a happy thunderbird, one that will protect you. So here we go with the eye, almost like a tortoise here, with some flaming eyes. I've put some red wool inside the eyes. I've got my wings coming out. I'm now going to add some black to the legs at the bottom. Secure my stick, my controller, and if you find your sticks start to bend a little bit, you can always reinforce them with a bit of masking tape. Now if you look carefully at the real sculpture, you'll see that the legs twisted and bound, combinations of rubber and fabric, and the underbelly of the thunderbird is made out of material. We're going to take a closer look at the sculpture, see how Nicholas Hlobo made his. Coming along nicely. I think I'm going to follow suit. Make the underneath where Nicholas Hlobo has red material, I'm going to make an orange belly. You might need somebody to help you just bind the last bits. But if you take it slowly, you can always find a way to tie things and make them properly so they stay. Or use sticky tape or staples. I like experimenting when I'm making something. There's the stomach. Staple it up there. What has the thunderbird eaten for lunch? What did you eat for lunch? What would you eat if you're a thunderbird? Wow, that's quite a big tummy. Getting some reinforcement needed on the wing. What I like about Nicholas Hlobo's work is that there's always these ends that follow the path of his making. So you can leave tassels and loose ends and bind your package together. Find new ways. Creating your artwork. So I've made the wings a lot more raggedy and scary. And the tail I've bound so that it's more like a serpent. bet somebody is going to say they recognize Toothless from that dragon movie. So we hope you've enjoyed making your Thunderbird with us today and learning new techniques like paper rolling that are fantastic for art projects and structural planning and designing. If you've made a Thunderbird that you'd like to share with us, please post it or get someone to send it to us. You can put it directly onto our social media, the Instagram and Facebook pages, and we'd love to give you feedback on it. It would be really special if you've written a story about it as well. Give your Thunderbird a name and let it fly in your imagination. Thanks to my colleagues for helping me put this together, Liesel, Mandisa and Danny, and to my son for filming, and to my mom for letting me film in her house. I will clean up the mess. I will. Now I'm going to clean up now.